medicinal plants are basically the plants which contain active ingredients like flavonoid, alkaloid, glucosides, or other phenolic compounds, and these compounds are used for the treatment of a number of diseases. So in this lecture, I give you the some recent trends about the medicinal plants, about the plant diversity, that how the plant diversity is linked to the applied sciences like the physics, chemistry, biology, microbiology, pharmacy, and some other related disciplines, and how this classical botany is applied to different industrial products, and how this classical botany is used for the entrepreneurship and the business community, research, marketing, commercialization. I am Professor Dr. Mushtaq from Qaid-e-Azam University, and I am teaching this course about the medicinal plant biodiversity and the classical botany to applied botany. As you know that the Qaid-e-Azam University is the top ranked university, and the students from all around the countries get the admission at the BS level, MSc level, or MPhil level, or PhD levels. They get degrees in various disciplines, while in botanical sciences or the plant sciences, because we are focused on the floral biodiversity of Pakistan and floral diversity of neighboring countries. You are familiar about the phytogeography of Pakistan. Pakistan has a unique phytogeographic position in the world. Pakistan lies between the subtropics of Capricorn and Tropic of Cancer. So the Pakistan has a rich diversity of the climate, ecology, soil, forest, plant diversity. So in this era, we are going to explore the plant diversity of Pakistan with respect to different provinces of Pakistan like Balochistan, Sindh, Punjab, KPK, Kashmir, and our northern regions. Here you see about the plant numerical data of plant diversity of Pakistan. In Pakistan, up till now, about 6,000 plants are identified. That includes angiosperms, gymnosperms, pteridophytes, bryophytes, and some lichens. So Pakistan is a rich diversity of the plant with respect to these different groups. Here, this is just the significance of the plant diversity, how the plant diversity is useful for the food security, health security, and the energy security. As you are familiar about the use of the plants in our daily lives, that we are use the plants for the food, for the medicine, for the energy. So the plants fulfill our food security, energy security, and the health security. At the same time, Pakistani biodiversity of the plant biodiversity is facing the threats. About the climate threats, about the invasiveness, about the population, pollutions, habitat destruction, deforestation, and the erosions by waterlogged at the saline side. So these are the current threats to the plant diversity in Pakistan. In order to overcome these threats, the students, the researchers, the botanists, the biologists are working to overcome these threats in order to save the plant diversity that are used for the health, food, or energy. As far as our focal research areas are concerned about these here you see about the threats. Now I will talk about the important projects that are confined to the plant diversity. The first project that is confined to the databasing of the plant diversity, because in 1972 the steward gave the checklist of the flora of Pakistan. Then a group of plant scientists from the Karachi University, they write a flora of Pakistan. But it is the need of the time that this flora must be digitized to circulate this flora of Pakistan for the wider acceptance throughout the world. So we are working on the plant diversity with respect to the digitization and the databasing of the plant diversity with respect to phytogeography, with respect to their habitat, with respect to their different groups like angiosperm, pteridophyte, gymnosperm, and some bryophytes. The second project is about very important project, and is a part of your classwork, that is the medicinal plant. As I already discussed about, the medicinal plants are the plants which contain active ingredients that are used for the health security. Medicinal plants can be used for the drug discovery development, they can be used by the local community for the health benefits by the local community. At the same time, these medicinal plants may provide the active ingredients like steroid, phenolic compounds, alkaloid that have a wider application in the industries. The second project is about the plant diversity, is about the production of the greener energy for Pakistan, because Pakistan has a shortage of the food, has a shortage of the health benefits, and at the same time Pakistan is facing the energy crisis. So this era, the botanists are working to explore the plant diversity for the greener energy, for the eco-friendly, environment-friendly bioenergy. Just I gave you the glimpses how the medicinal plants are distributed in different parts of the Pakistan. When you visit the Sai Plateau or the northern areas of Pakistan, which is the highest mountains and highest peaks in the world, and these have a characteristic phytogeography with respect to the number of the endemic plants, endemic flora in this area. So this area is one of the important area with respect to the endemic diversity. So the students from Botany are working to explore this endemic diversity of the plant for the health benefits, for the food benefits, for the energy benefit, and number of the other non-timber forest products. So this area is one of the unique phytogeographic position with respect to those medicinal plants that are used for the industrial application in Pakistan. And a number of the students, after getting the degrees from plant sciences or botany, they not only seek a job in teaching, they have a big scope opportunities in different industries or working on the plant-based products. Another study we have worked on the medicinal plant of the Sai Plateau or the northern areas of Pakistan. In this study, there is a scheme how these plants are documented from these areas, how they are explored with respect to the laboratory work. So the botanical sciences are basically based on two types of the studies. First is the field work. When you are in the field, you get the plant, you collect the plants, and then you have to identify these plants by using number of the different techniques. First technique is the identification in the field by using the visual observation based on the morphological description. The second technique is to compare these plants with already published literature in floras like Stewart flora, like Pakistani floras, or the floras that are written by the neighboring countries like China, India, and Iran. So the third technique to identify the plant is to compare these plants with the herbarium specimen. So herbarium specimen, literature, and the morphological characters are basically three important techniques in order to identify the plants. Now the applied sciences, when we talk about the applied sciences like the molecular biology or the DNA sequencing or the DNA barcodings or the biochemistry or the phytochemistry or the chemotaxonomy, these are the applied sciences of the botany that are used also for the identification of plants. When we move to the higher altitudes, to the subalpine regions of Pakistan, like the moist temperate forest, because Pakistan, there is a diversity of the medicinal plants that are distributed in moist temperate areas of Pakistan, like Ayubia, Abbottabad, Mansehra, Sawat, Kahandaran. Where there is a moist temperate forest, you have a diverse medicinal plant that are used or that are linked to the livelihood development by the local community. They are using these plants from centuries, from generation to generation. But it is a need of time that these plants must be explored with respect to the industrial products, either drug discovery development, either medicinal plants used for the cosmeceutical products, either medicinal plant used for a number of the other industrial products. Another study we have published from the medicinal plants that are distributed in different higher altitudes of Pakistan. As you are familiar about the Chitral area, this is also another important area with respect to the endemic plant diversity. In 2021, we have studied from the Chitral areas about the medicinal plants that are used by the local communities. This is another important area with respect to the endemic plant diversity of Chitral. This is another important area. Pakistan also hosts a number of the glaciers that are also provide the habitat to number of the sedges and grasses, because sedges and grasses are also another important group of plants that are used for the identification, because 1/3 flora of Pakistan is identified but 2/3 flora remain unidentified. So it is the need of the botanists, the students like you, the students who are working in botany like MS, MPhil or PhD must identify 2/3 flora of Pakistan with respect to what. When we move toward the plain areas or the valleys of different parts of Pakistan, like Kashmir, like Neelam valleys, Sawat, there is also rich diversity of the wild edible fruits or wild edible vegetables that are also used as a medicinal sources, because now the world is moving towards those plants. Those plants are used as a food one time and they are used at the same time as a medicinal plant. So the nature has distributed medicine everywhere in the form of plant. Either you use for food, either you use for medicines. Here you just see the glimpses of different parts of Pakistan that are the rich source of the medicinal plants in our country. This is the Siran Valley that is located in the Hazara division, is also one of the important area with respect to the lower plants, that is the bryophytes, pteridophytes and the medicinal plants. We have published another important study regarding the wild edible fruits or medicinal plants that are used from these areas. So this study gives you the checklist of the wild edible fruits, wild medicinal plants that are used for the health benefits as well as they are used for the food purposes. When you move to the plain areas of Pakistan like the Punjab, Punjab is also one of the biggest area with respect to the agricultural crops in Pakistan. But at the same time, Punjab areas like the salt range that provide the habitat to number of the other medicinal plants distributed in salt range and southern parts of the Punjab. So this area is also unique phytogeographic position with respect to the medicinal plant in the plain areas of Punjab. Similarly, we have published a study on medicinal plant diversity of the salt range area. So this study is focused about the medicinal plant diversity of the allophatic flora of the salt range regions of Punjab. When we move toward the Sindh areas, desert areas, so there is another important geographic habitat with respect to the plant diversity of the desert parts of Pakistan. Because after the third park, you have listens about the plant diversity of India like Rajasthan, Sarai Azam, number of the deserts in the world, they provide a unique habitat to this diversity. But this area is also unexplored with respect to Pakistan. So in this study, we have make a checklist of the plant diversity from the desert parts of the Sindh. So number of students of the Botany department from Qadir University are working on the xerophytic flora or the desert flora of the Sindh areas of Pakistan. In 2020, we have published a book with a joint venture of Pakistan and Turkey about the plants that are used for the human health from the desert parts of Sindh. When we move toward the Balochistan area, the Balochistan is also one of the important areas with respect to the plant diversity, especially the endemic diversity of Balochistan that is unexplored. So this area is also one of the unique phytogeographic areas with respect to junipers. Pakistan is the only country in the world that have a second largest juniper, but this area is also facing the threats of the fuel wood consumptions, energy shortage, so the people are cutting these forests. So it is the need of the time that the botanists, the biologists, the policymakers think about the conservation of this area, because this area not provide the fuel wood, not provide the timber wood from these forests, they provide a number of the medicinal plants that are used for the health benefits by the local communities. So this area is also one of the unique area with respect to the dry fruits from this area. So this area also need attentions to protect this area, conserve this area for the future generations. We have published a study from the northern Balochistan about the medicinal plant diversity. So this is the first report, case study from North Balochistan as a systematic studies how the medicinal plants are distributed in northern areas of Balochistan. So this study may provide the basis for future research like pharmacology, phytochemistry, chemotaxonomy, microbiology, plant pathology. So this study is also another important area because a number of the students from Botany are working on the pathogens, that is the pathology. So this area is also the important medicinal plant like berberis, junipers, podophyllums, pioneer. So these plants are facing the threats of the pest. So this area is also needed attention to study the pathogens of these medicinal plants. So these are few glimpses of our studies regarding the medicinal plants in Pakistan. We have studied the number of diverse wild edible fruit that are used for the non-timber forest products from Swat, Kalam areas and other moist temperate areas. What are the steps that are involved for the study of these medicinal plants? The first step is the field study. First to identify the plants, then to collect the plants, then to identify the plants. The second step is the storage, preservation and harvesting of these wild fruits or wild vegetables used for the medicinal purposes. So that this is then further leads towards the laboratory work. We are also working on some other plant diversity that are used for the honeybee. That honeybee are the natural pollinators that you are familiar about, the entomophily, that is the pollination via insects. So honeybee play a very important role for the natural use as a natural pollinator. At the same time, we are working on the pollen diversity, that the pollen they are get from the flowers of the plants and they are used for the honey preparation. So in this study, we have to focus on the honeybee with respect to the pollen. So this is called as a melisopalanology. That is also another important advanced field of the botany that is confined to the study of the honeybee pollen flora. Here you see some few honeybee who have visited different wild plants that are used for the honeybee productions. Here you see the about the collection mechanism, how this honey is collected from these wild resources of the plants, and how the honey is tested for originality. Either it's the adulterated honey or it is the original honey. So there are parameters to study these honeybee adulterations. In 2021, we have published a study about the honeybee flora from Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, that different plant species may provide the pollens, nectars to these honeybees that are used as for production of the honey. So this is basically our focus of this class about the medicinal plant. They are used for the health benefits. If you are familiar that the medicinal plants provide the natural way of treatment for treating a number of diseases. So these are the common diseases, not in Pakistan, these are common throughout the world. That's the health problem like the heart problems, cancer, diabetes, allergies, digestive disorders, skin disorders, children diseases, pediatric disease. So these are the different health issues in the Pakistan and the world. So to overcome these issues, to control these diseases by using medicinal plants, we are working on different medicinal plants that are distributed in different parts of Pakistan. Our approach in the study is a bottom-up approach. Bottom-up approach is that this consists of three important research tracks. That is the ethnopharmacology, leads toward the developmental pathway, that is the chemical and biological activities, and then this leads toward the pharmacological approach, that is the drug discovery development. Because when we are in field, we get the knowledge about the medicinal plant from the local communities. That is called as ethnopharmacology. If you know about ethnopharmacology is basically the documentation of the medicinal plant by the local community that are used for the health benefits. Then the laboratory work, that is research work, R&D, that is confined to these medicinal plants to isolate, to characterize the active ingredient from these medicinal plants and then testify these active ingredients for biological activities, either antifungal activities, antiviral activities, antimicrobial activities, and this then both combination, that is the chemical analysis and the biological analysis, leads toward the natural drug discovery development. So this is called as a bottom-up approach that leads from ethnopharmacology to chemical and biological analysis that leads toward the natural drug discovery development. So this is a basically approach how to study these medicinal plants. In 2021, we have published another study about this approach, how the ethnopharmacology leads toward chemical analysis and then leads toward the drug discovery development, that the phytochemical analysis, phytochemical screening, and then move towards the drug discovery. This is just you see here the indigenous medicinal plant from Pakistan, that is Pioneer Midai. If you are familiar about this plant, that is Pioneer. This plant is commonly distributed the moist temperate forest of Pakistan, the Yubia, Nathia Valley, Mansehra. Isolate the active ingredient, and this plant is first time reported for the natural drug discovery for the epilepsy, that is जिसको आप मिर्गी कहते हैं, epilepsy जो होती है. So this plant is a natural drugs that is used for epilepsy. So you are familiar about this plant?
Yes, sir.
What is the local name of this plant in Sawat, Abdullah? Mamer. Locally in Sawat areas or northern parts of Pakistan, this is called as Mamer. So this is another important plant from Pakistan. We have published a study on this plant, how this plant is used for the novel compounds. We have isolated a number of novel compounds, and these novel compounds are then used for the drugs preparation for epilepsy. So this is a joint venture between Qaeda University and the Chinese Academy of Sciences. We have developed drugs that is used for epilepsy, and this is the patent drugs in China. So this is our indigenous resource, and the China is patronizing this drug. So it is the need of the time that the botanists may work the indigenous medicinal plant of this country for the drug discoveries to link this botany to the industries. So here you see the glimpses of ethnopharmacology, how the data is documented by the botanists from the local communities about the medicinal plant uses, that is called as ethnopharmacology. We have published a study about the systematics of open shell. You are familiar about the open shell? What is open shell? Cactus. जिसको हम थोड़ कहते हैं या कैक्टस कहते हैं, जो जीरोफिटिक प्लांट्स होते हैं. So we have explored this plant diversity of open shell genus from different parts of Pakistan, because arid areas or the desert areas are the habitat of this plant. So this plant is also used for a number of cosmeceutical products. ये जितनी भी कॉस्मेटिक्स यूज़ हो रही है नेचुरल, तो उसमें इसके प्लांट के जो एक्सट्रैक्ट्स होते हैं दे आर कॉमनली यूज. और इसके अलावा मेडिसिनली भी इसके बहुत ज़्यादा वैल्यूज है, बिकॉज इट इज़ अ रिच सोर्स ऑफ vitamin C, and it is also recommended for the natural amino boost in Pakistan as being one. So we have published a study from Upancha species from Pakistan. This is another important plant that is called as Ticumella undulata. It is also commonly distributed in different parts of Punjab. Ticumella undulata is facing the threats due to the deforestation, fuel load consumption. So we are working on the conservation of this species in its original habitat. You are familiar that there are two types of conservation strategies, that is in situ conservation and ex situ conservation. What's the difference between in situ and ex situ conservation?
So in situ is conservation, we begin its natural habitat, and ex situ outside.
Yes, we are working on this plant to protect this plant in their original habitat, that is in situ conservation. This is another important plant from Pakistan, that is Capparis decidua. That is also found in the arid parts of Punjab, arid parts of Pakistan. This plant is a rich source of calcium because nowadays number of diseases are linked to the rheumatism, joint pains, backache. So this plant is an excellent source of natural calcium. जो विटामिन आप लोग यूज़ करते हैं, कैल्शियम आप लोग यूज़ करते हो, तो उसके लिए अगर आप इसे फ्रूट यूज़ कर सकते हैं तो मेडिसिनली वो आपको एज ए फूड भी यूज़ कर सकते हैं, और मेडिसिनली दे आर अ रिच सोर्स ऑफ कैल्शियम दैट अ नंबर ऑफ द डिजीजेस कैन बी क्योर्ड बाय यूजिंग दिस नेचुरल कैल्शियम सोर्स ऑफ द प्लांट्स. अनदर इंपॉर्टेंट प्लांट इज द निम्फिया. इसके बारे में आपको आइडिया है निम्फिया क्या होता है जमील? यस, इसके जो रूट्स होते हैं, राइजोम जो होते हैं, दे आर कॉमनली यूज एज अ वेजिटेबल्स, और ये एक रिच सोर्स ऑफ प्रोटीन्स है, रिच सोर्स ऑफ मिनरल्स है, विटामिन है. ये क्योंकि वाटर लविंग प्लांट्स होता है, इसको हम एक्वाटिक प्लांट कहते हैं या सेमी एक्वाटिक प्लांट्स होता है. दैट्स अनदर इंपॉर्टेंट नेचुरल फूड दैट इज यूज्ड फॉर द फूड एज वेल फॉर मेडिसिन.
सर इसका कॉमन नेम क्या है?
बे इसको कहते हैं सिंध में बे, और लोकली जमीली बे कहते हैं. तो इसकी वेजिटेबल्स कॉमनली अवेलेबल होती है सिंध में, कराची वगैरह में. Another important plant is Crataceous sonogerica. You familiar with this plant? Crataceous. इसके फ्रूट्स होते हैं और ये सवात में या ये जो हमारे नार्दर्न पार्ट्स ऑफ पाकिस्तान में वहाँ होता है. ये श्रबी प्लांट है, which belong to family Rosaceae, और it is a rich source of vitamin C, और it is one of the best food, best medicines that is used for the hypertension. यानी जिन लोगों का ब्लड प्रेशर या ज़्यादा हाई हो जाता है या ज़्यादा लो हो जाता है, ये ब्लड प्रेशर को नॉर्मलाइज करता है. सो इट इज़ कॉमनली रिकमेंडेड फॉर द हार्ट प्रॉब्लम्स. Though this is commonly available in the markets of Turkey and Central Asia. So this plant is also indigenous to Pakistan.
Sir,
fruits ये मार्केट से मिलते हैं आपके सवाब और ये जो नॉर्दर्न पार्ट्स हैं. This is another important medicine plant from Pakistan, that is Virginia ciliata, जिसको आप ज़ख्म याद भी कहते हैं, बटपे भी कहते हैं. तो that is also commonly distributed in moist temperate forest of Pakistan. This is another important medicine plant that is used for the skin problems or cosmeceutical industry. So number of the skin diseases, skin cancer sometimes treated by using this medicine plant. You are familiar about this Virginia? Anybody who see this Virginia in the field? किसी ने अगर देखा हो फील्ड में वर्जीनिया को?
Yes sir.
Yes. ये मालम जब्बा और एरियाज में कलाम वैली में communities. We have published a study on this plant, that how this Virginia is used for the skin cancer. So this is another important joint venture of Pakistan and Chinese Academy of Sciences, because we are exploring the medicinal plant diversity of Pakistan and China for the industries. Along the CPAC, this is a project between Pakistan and Pan Himalaya of China. So this study is basically confined to the drug discovery of this Virginia ciliata is used for the skin problems. Another important basic approach for the study of the plant identification, when some plants are not identified by using morphology or some literature, you can study the microscopic factor either at the anatomical levels or either at the level of pollen. So we are focusing on some plants that are problematic taxa, that are not identified by morphology. So we are focused on their microscopic structures or the anatomical structure. So this is a few slides from our studies that are confined to the anatomical characters, how these anatomical characters are used as an aid for the classification or the identification of the medicinal plant. Another important area of the plant diversity is these plants are used for the greener energy. because Pakistan is facing the shortage of the energy crisis, so we are focused on those plants which are non-edible and indigenous to Pakistan, and they are used for the greener energy by using the green technology. As you are familiar about the billion tree tsunami, basically billion tree tsunami is the concept that we plant to enhance the plant diversity or the forest density on the barren lands, saline soil, waterlogged soils, railway tracks and NHA tracks. So in this project we are focused on the non-edible trees, shrubs that are part of the billion tree tsunami. At the same time, they make Pakistan green, and they make Pakistan at the same time provide the green energy from these seeds. Here you are familiar about this plant. ये पौधा आपको पता है कौन सा है? हाँ, जिसको आप सुकचेन कहते हैं, पोनगेमिया पिनेटा कहते हैं. तो ये पाकिस्तान का इंडिजिनस ट्रीज है जो कि रेलवे ट्रैक के साथ हमारी जितनी बैरन लैंड वहाँ में इसको लगाते हैं, और इसके जो सीड्स होते हैं एनुअली वो गिर के हर साल वेस्ट हो जाते हैं. तो वी हैव टू डेवलप अ टेक्नोलॉजी दैट द वेस्ट सीड्स आर कन्वर्टेड टू द ग्रीनर एनर्जी. सो दिस इज अनदर इंपॉर्टेंट एनर्जी क्राफ्ट फॉर पाकिस्तान. ये हमने इसकी कल्टीवेशन टेक्नोलॉजी डेवलप की है कि हम इसको फास्ट ग्रोथ कैसे बना सकते हैं, शॉर्ट टाइम में ये इस ग्रोथ कैसे इम्प्रूव कर सकते हैं. दिस नर्सरी रेजिंग फॉर दिस प्लांट. So we have published a study on energy craft diversity of green fuel. So this study is basically applied science. कि बॉटनी किस तरह से केमिकल इंजीनियरिंग के साथ, मैकेनिकल इंजीनियरिंग के साथ, या जो केमिस्ट्री है उसके साथ कैसे लिंक होती है. तो हम फीड स्टॉक प्लांट का यूज़ करते हैं, उसको हम एक्सट्रैक्ट कर लेते हैं. देन वी हैव यूज दिस ऑयल फॉर द कन्वर्जन ऑफ दिस ऑयल टू द ग्रीनर एनर्जी बाय अप्लाइंग द ग्रीन नैनो टेक्नोलॉजी, जिसमें ग्रीन नैनो कैटलिस्ट सिंथेसाइज होती हैं, उनको कैरेक्टराइज किया जाता है. देन दीज आर अप्लाइड फॉर द कन्वर्जन ऑफ द ट्राइग्लिसराइड ऑफ सीड ऑयल टू द बायो एनर्जी. सो दिस बायो एनर्जी इज यूज्ड बाय द डीजल बेस्ड इंजन्स और व्हीकल्स दैट आर रनिंग ऑन द डीजल. सो दिस बॉटनी इज अप्लाइड एज अ botanist linked to the chemistry, and this chemistry leads toward the chemical engineering and then move toward the mechanical engineering. How the vehicles are, the cars, tractors, different vehicles who are running on diesel are run at the same time on the bioenergy. So this is study published on the novel nano catalysts or greener catalysts from this plant, and these plants are used for the greener energy. And procedure, methodologies, how the plants are used for the industrial production. Another important study in 2021 we have published in green fuels. That is a synthesis of biodiesel from non-native brachychaetone. ये एक इंडिजिनस ट्री है पाकिस्तान के, जो कि हमारी कायद-ए-आज़म यूनिवर्सिटी में लगा हुआ है. ये ग्रीन एवरग्रीन प्लांट होता है, और इसके जो सीड्स हैं they are also waste. So these waste is also converted to the greener energy. So my students Samreen did a research on this plant to convert the greener seed oil to biofuels. इसके अलावा बहुत सारे और ऐसे इंडिजिनस प्लांट्स हैं जिनको हम ग्रीनर एनर्जी के लिए यूज़ करते हैं. तो ये 2021 में एक और स्टडी हमने पब्लिश की है. What is the procedure that the greener nano catalyst, how they are fast working to convert the triglyceride to biofuels, and how these are characterized by using sophisticated technique like XRD, SCM, TM, GCMS, NMR, LCMS. So these are the phytochemical techniques that are used for the characterization of the greener energy or the greener catalyst. आपको पता है कि पाकिस्तान में जो हायर प्लांट्स हैं उनके तो बहुत ज़्यादा यूजेस हैं. कोई मेडिसिन में यूज़ हो रहा है, कोई फूड में यूज़ हो रहा है, कोई फ्यूल में यूज़ हो रहा है. तो पाकिस्तान में देयर इज डाइवर्सिटी ऑफ द एलजी. पाकिस्तान में बहुत सारा एल्गल जो फ्लोरा है उसको भी आइडेंटिफाई नहीं किया गया है. सो वी आर आल्सो वर्किंग, वन ऑफ आवर लैब दैट इज वर्किंग ऑन द algal diversity, that's the identification of the algae that are used for the greener energy. So in our joint project with the government of Malaysia, we are focusing on the algal plant diversity that is used for the greener energy. That is the green fuel for green Pakistan. We have published a study on a practical approach, how these catalysts, how these different feedstocks, either non-edible oilseed, agriculture waste, or the algal waste is converted to the biofuel. So this study is published also in 2021 about the greener energy from different feedstocks from Pakistan. We have also successful road-on test on the different vehicles like cars, tractors, and different vehicles who are running on the diesel may be running at the same time on the greener energy. This is another important study about greener energy from different feedstock that is used for the biofuels. This is the book we have published on the textbook. So this book is recommended at the BS level, MSc level, or a PhD level. Different universities in the world, like USA or Chinese Academy of Science, same in Qaeda University. In my course on biofuel technology, we have recommended this book as a textbook on the practical handbook about the biofuel technology, about the indigenous resources, the process, the production, and the implementation at the different levels. These are a few studies about the plant diversity for green energy. At the same time, we are also working on the waste of the animal fats, animal bones. They are also used as a catalytic activity that are used to promote the green. So this is a joint venture between Pakistan and the Malaysian governments, that how these waste of the animal waste are used for biofuels. Now what are we practically doing? In the Qaeda University, we have established a botanical garden. So this is also part of your medicinal plant. In this garden, we have developed technologies to conserve the endangered medicinal plant. Basically, those medicinal plants facing the threats of their habitats, we get their tissues, we get their seed, we get their some parts, and they are transplanted to the botanical garden by ex situ conservation. So the botanical garden play an important role for the conservation of those plants which are facing the threats of biodiversity. We have signed an MOU with the Italian governments about the plant diversity and the ex situ and in situ conservation. And last week, we have developed an MOU with the Italian embassy about the medicinal plants, or the threats to facing the medicinal plant, and what are the technologies needed to transform this basic knowledge towards the industries or the entrepreneurship.